Hello there, guys. This is Stranger Hydra 9, and I'm here with the creation of Floor Shot, or the second iteration of Floor Shot for the upcoming Master Chief Collection, and that is with Thomas and Dustin. Alright, so this is for any future members that want to join Floor Shot, and we're just going to talk about some of the concepts you need to know right from the beginning if you want to be part of the team. Or, I'm not saying you're not a good player, it's not going to work with our team if you're not on board with most of these concepts and have an understanding. So the first thing I want to talk about when we're playing, what our goal is. What our goal is. Everybody in this chat is to try to have fun, number one, and two, to be competitive and get to a level 50. If you don't want to get to a level 50 or don't want to be competitive, there's plenty of game modes that have fun. That's an entirely good perspective, but this team creation is about being competitive, trying to get a 50, while not being judgmental with each other, but working towards competitive guidelines, like things that actually make you a decent player competitively and can get you to a 50. All right, so here's what's going to happen on unless somebody in the team says different, a high-ranking member. This is what's going to happen. Basically, we're going to start out with S11. That is the current free-for-all champion of the team every week, or if it defaults back to either me or Dustin. Those are the only two people will default back to if there's not a free-for-all event that week. So basically, what it does, S11 is the one who, when we're playing a 4v4 competitive game, makes the decisions. That's very, very important to understand this and follow these guidelines. All right. When you're playing competitive Halo, the goal is not always to kill. It is not to kill, and you have to understand this. If it's Team Slayer, obviously it is to kill. But it could be Oddball, it could be Capture the Flag, or it could be King of the Hill. These are the main competitive game modes that we have to worry about. So depending on that, we need to practice on the particular maps that are in the current MLG rotation and the particular game types that these maps are running, basically, when that comes out. Now, at the launch, if you're with us at the launch, then we're going to be just kind of learning call-outs. We're going to be trying to learn the maps as we go and get as high as we can. Then, obviously, when MLG comes out, we need to do a lot of training in MLG. So learning these game modes and learning the particular game types that are played on a certain map. Like, let's say on Lockout, for instance, you may have a Team Slayer, it may be a King of the Hill that's in rotation. Well, you don't need to be playing Oddball on Lockout if it's not in the rotation, because it's just going to be wasting time. Like, I'm not saying it's not fun if you want to play it on your own time for fun, but if we're trying to get 50s, we need to be playing maps that are in the rotation. All right, so next thing up we're going to discuss about is aiming, because I feel like this is a really misunderstood point. Aim is the absolute last thing that you need to be focused on when playing Halo, which is really crazy. It's a first-person shooter. Everybody thinks aiming is important. Aiming is very important, but the bad news is about aiming is it's very inconsistent. You can train aim, like let's say like training Octagon to start out or whatever, warming up. But the bad news about aiming is it's very variable from day to day. You could be hitting your aiming or you could not be hitting your aiming, and there's just a day-to-day variation. It's very, very hard to be really precise, really strict on your aiming. So what are we going to be working on? Well, we're going to be working on calling out objectives, weapon timings, and controlling certain strategic points in the map. Now, this is, again, where a couple things you need to know. If you pick up rocket, sniper, or any other major power weapon, you need to be calling out that weapon's timing. Now, to call out that weapon's timing means this. Okay, it's up to the particular player to know that particular timing for the weapon. Let's say it's a sniper and it's on a 90-second clock. Okay, so let's say you say, I picked up sniper at 6:20. Okay, so somebody on your team should make it a priority when 90 seconds have elapsed to try to get the next sniper. This is very important. Now, each player should know the timings, and we're going to go through that for a lot of custom game practices. If you do know the timing, and you're absolutely sure of the timing, it doesn't hurt to call it out. So let's say if it's 6 minutes, it's on a 90-second clock, then you say at 4:30, sniper's going to be coming out. That makes it so easy for your teammates. They don't have to think about 4:30. Okay, I'm going to go try to get sniper. It's very important to control these power weapons. This is #1 factor to actually controlling matches. It's as simple as that. Power weapons are incredibly important. If you get over level 30, you're going to have to be controlling power weapons. #2, don't overplay Slayer. Everybody likes to play Slayer. Slayer is a lot of fun. But the bad news is that a lot of competitive types actually capture the flag in King of the Hill and Oddball. And that means that we have to be diverse, and we have to know things like, flag juggling, and, trying to keep to specific spots of the map, trying to keep the oddball to specific spots of the map. So we need to be practicing those skills too, and can't focus too much on Slayer. The third thing that's very, very important, there is no such thing as somebody stealing your kill if it's a teammate. Everything is a team effort, and there's no such thing as stealing kills. Any sort of kill stealing, I need all the kills, you need to get out of your system right now. It's 100% about trying to call out every kill and try to get the advantage for your team, because, unless you're playing Lone Wolves, which again, you really don't need the rest of us, and I'm not saying getting a 50 in Lone Wolves is easier, because it's absolutely not, but unless that's your goal, and that's what you want to focus on, in which case you barely need us, being like a King Slayer and just getting all the kills by yourself is not very important. It actually is not important at all. What's very important is, let's say you body shot somebody, you say, hey, R23 is one shot, and he's here. And that's what's going to get the team the win. So these are just a few things you need to worry about. I'm just going to say right now already, if you don't want to play custom games, if you don't want to memorize weapon timings and map callouts, then there's really no point in playing the game competitively. It's just that simple. You're never going to get a 50 without knowing these facts, almost ever, unless you're boosted, unless somebody's just having you there and they're an incredible player and they're going to get you to 50. That's the only way. You're never going to get it through your own merits if you don't know these things, because most level 40s and above do know these things. So they're going to be at such a massive advantage, and at that level, the advantage is so small. So I hope this has kind of helped you guys. I hope that you kind of understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this. Now, like I said, the goal of 4Shot is to have fun and to get level 50s. That's the goal. That's the plan. If we start playing some MLG game types, that's great, but the initial goal, have fun, get to level 50. So just to summarize my point, don't focus on aim, focus on weapon timings, focus on knowing where you should be at any given moment, focus on callouts, and focus on team kills, not individual kills. If you can focus on these things, the chances that you're going to be higher than 35 and going towards 50 and eventually getting your 50 is relatively high. There's always more slots, so we're having a 4-person team at any given moment. But however, how many times are 4 people online at that given moment? Okay, so we want to have 4 people online anytime that something's going on. Now, if you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, that kind of stuff, then you need to link your stuff up with ours so that we can, coordinate some play times and keep ranking up. Again, though, if you're not willing to learn weapon times and you're not willing to learn, certain strategic things like map callouts, that is frustrating. It is frustrating. The Master Chief Collection is going to have a lot of maps, and even if we're playing in a certain map pool, it's not easy to learn all the weapon callouts. You don't have to be perfect, but if you're not making the attempt, then again, you're just not going to be competitive. That's just the bottom line. I'm sorry to tell you, but more than likely, your chances of getting a 50 are very low if you're not willing to put in that time, because 50 is like 0.1% of the population. Generally, the best Halo players, your chances, honestly, of even getting over 40, in my opinion, are fairly low, unless you have just a ton of natural skill or you're getting boosted. And 99% of the time, if you don't need these things, yeah, like Dustin said, you're getting boosted. boost is what's happening here. There's plenty of people that can get boosted up to 50s, but the bad news is about that is, number one, you didn't get it, which is obviously the most important. You have no personal sense of achievement, and why are you even trying to get a 50 if you don't want a personal sense of achievement? Or B, you can never play on that account. Because if you play anybody and you were boosted and you play without that boosting player, you're going to get fucking demolished because you're a level 22 player and you're playing with like 47s. It's that simple. So I hope with this little bit of time, I hope I cleared up some of the concepts. This is just a video that anybody new to the team needs to watch. So we're not on completely separate pages. And again, if this doesn't sound fun to you, if some of this just doesn't sound like something you have the time, or that you don't really have the motivation to do this, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody needs to experience and enjoy Halo in their own way. But these things are essential to playing competitive Halo. And if you want to get a 50, which I do, that's why I'm creating 4 shots, to have fun and get to 50. I want to get to 50. Then, it's probably another team's the best thing for you. So I hope to see you guys there, and hope this little live stream / by the time you're watching this video is helpful. And now at least when we're talking to you about certain things, you're going to understand what the expectations are to actually make you a better player. And even if you don't get to 50, at least just following these things, if you focus on these things, your rank is going to increase. That I can guarantee you. Your rank from focusing on aiming and just being the lead slayer to focusing on positioning, weapon timing, and team slaying is going to go up. It's as simple as that, because that's how Halo works. So thanks, guys, and hope to see you in 4 shot.